What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we're going to talk about the Jenna Ortega news. I'm sorry I'm a little late. We just did the live stream with Steven of Craving Something Scary. Had an absolute blast. If you guys want to check that video or that live stream out, but I did want to make a dedicated video just kind of going over my grieving process, over this news. And, honestly, to be fair, there's been quite a few things that's happened with Jenna in terms of the reporting as this day has gone, right? So originally it was, she's not returning. That was like the big, everybody was kind of just tweeting that out, right? She's not returning for Scream 7. All right, well, that's terrible, and we'll talk about that. But, well, what are the, finer details? Why was she dropped? Did she ask her way out? Now, the way it originally seemed, at least to me, was she just is very smart, and she did it because of Melissa, but she used the scheduling of Wednesday to get around it. That's how I saw it. Now, that is not the only way of looking at it. In fact, I've seen people look at it kind of in the reverse, where Spyglass, they did it that way, where because of Jenna's inability to be part of the film, and this does hold some weight. We'll talk about this. This makes sense if you keep following it through. Because she wasn't going to be able to do 7 because of the scheduling stuff, what they wanted was to just get rid of the Carpenter sisters in general, which is pretty disrespectful to Melissa, because although Jenna is the bigger name, and I would never dispute that, nobody really should dispute that, she is bigger, Sam is the bigger character, right? So just because Jenna can't do it doesn't mean you need to eliminate both of them. And so that theory is they knew that Jenna couldn't do it, so they, were hyper kind of critical on what Melissa was writing on Instagram and stuff, and they fired her. That is a way. Now, do I believe that? There's too much kind of going on for me to believe that, because, here's where I'm going with it, right? As the reporting has continued, the reports now are there was never a contract. Jenna never had a contract, and when she was negotiating, or they said renegotiating, which does mean that she negotiated, but when she was renegotiating, she asked for too much money, and they said no. So she was never going to be part of it. They've known that for months now, and, whatever was happening, what was happening. Now, that is possible. That's possible. But on the flip side of things, you have, well, what about the signs that she was going to be in it? And there were 2 signs. There was a report like a month ago that said that Jenna Ortega is committed to being in Scream 7. So wherever that came from, there was that, which everybody agreed with it at that time, okay? That's the first one. Number 2, the way the scheduling was planned out, rumor-wise, she would have been able to film. It just would have been a little constricted, right? Where the rumor, seemingly, was they were going to film Scream 7 beginning of March, go through, right? And Wednesday would start filming, I believe, at the end of April, right? So she'd have maybe 6, maybe 7, maybe 5, right? We could say 5 to 7 weeks to film. Now, that's probably not the entirety of the filming. Filming for Scream movies are generally 2.5 months to 3 months, so a little bit more, right? So she wouldn't be able to do the full, 10 to 12 weeks, but she could do 6. She could maybe do half, right? That's what it seemed like. And you combine that with the report that directly said she's committed and she's going to be in it. And okay, she's going to be in it. So it's hard, and as I've constantly normally I go after gaming journalists. We can go after Hollywood they're all scum. They're all garbage. I don't if you like variety, I guess more power to you. I think it's all very cringe and very stupid. Now, obviously, they're believable and they're plugged in and they know their stuff, but I think the whole thing is just really, really dumb, okay? So, with that being said, are they doing it for clicks? Do they actually know fully what's going on? Hollywood in general is a scum, organization, as we have just seen with Melissa Barrera, right? Picking and choosing, hypocrites, no souls. They're told what to say. Chris Landon does the tweet and then he pulls it back. All of this stuff. Everybody's kind of controlled at least a little bit in Hollywood. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if somebody got their wires crossed and something isn't true. Maybe she was never going to be in the movie, or maybe she was and she dropped out. The way I look at it, and I think Steven made a really good point when we talked about this on the live stream. The thing that would point me towards she was in it and now she's not in it is 2 different things. Number 1, the first report is she's not going to be in Scream 7. Now, I guess it depends on how you read that, because you could read it as, well, she was never going to be in it, but why did you do it? And this is part 2. Why did you do it the day after? So Melissa gets fired one day after Jenna's out. Reported. She's reported to be out. Now, maybe she was out 4 months ago, but they reported it today. Why? So to me, that is no coincidence. That was done. So I would like to believe the rumor that she had her girls back and she used the scheduling conflicts to get out of a contract, because I do believe I think a lot of them were signed to contracts. So, I've spent maybe 5 minutes talking about that, a little bit longer than I wanted. What about my feelings towards it? Well, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Now, granted, it didn't really make a lot of sense to bring Tara back without Sam, because, I said a few minutes ago, Jenna is the bigger name, but Tara is tied to Sam, and it's Sam. Sorry, but it is Sam's story. Okay, whether you don't have to like that. That's, as we've talked about. Your opinions. I'll respect you. You respect me. All that jazz. You don't have to like Sam or like Tara or like their stories. But the way that it was is that it was Sam's story. So without Sam, Tara doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, would I have liked to have seen them try and say, the whole thing is muddied? And you got to kind of remember that, right? Because of Melissa's firing, the whole thing is kind of just disgusting and annoying to even talk about, where it's are you going to be called names for supporting it or not supporting it, right? Finger pointing and stuff that the Scream fandom on certain parts of the internet, they do that, right? So you have all that, but if we're pushing that aside, let's just forget about what people think of each other. I certainly don't care what you think of me. You got all that, okay? Let's push that away. If Sam is not in it, I would have liked to have seen them try to make Tara, more prevalent, more of a main role. Now, I think you would still have to put so much more on Sydney, which is fine, right? You'd have to put a lot on her, and Tara would still be that 1B kind of thing, where she was never the 1A. She was never the main lead, but she was right behind it. You could probably still do that. You would lose some steam, though, because it's I think her and Chad maybe helps her, because she's got more. I'm not saying you connect her to a boy and that makes her more of a thing, but you're kind of molding her character to blend in with the group more than you did, if that makes any sense. You can't just have her being there to be there, I guess is my point, right? So she was kind of there originally. She was there because of Sam. She literally was attacked. And I mean, you think about how these characters are maybe created, right? She's a vessel for the parents, for Christina, right? And then you get into the messy background with the father, and then Billy, but you have Sam. So she's there because of Sam. And now she's there because of Sam, but now she also has this, she's not there because of Chad. In fact, you can maybe even argue Chad's there because of Tara, right? But they're together. So you could do stuff with Tara. Now you can't. And I mean, I guess the reason maybe why this is towards the end is there's not too much to say. It's just massive disappointment. We talked about in the live stream. I'm sure I'm going to say it a lot over the next week or so in these videos and more live streams I do. I'll probably do a live stream on Friday. We'll see how it goes, but you can maybe look forward to that. Right now, it's so messy. It's so terrible. And it's I like them. I'm sorry. I would have liked, you see the rumored plot thing of what 7 was going to be. I think it made a lot of sense to split them up and tell 2 individual stories, put them together eventually. I think that would have been rocking. I think that would have been great. And now without those 2, as I've talked about, without Tara, I really don't see why you have Chad or Mindy there. I don't think they make sense. I think you go full in on the legacy, which we'll talk about that in future videos, but it's terrible. It's honestly terrible. And I give props, I guess, to Jenna, at least the way I see the situation unfolding, because I see it unfolding as she is smart or clever, or I mean, maybe not even just her team, right? The lawyers or agents or whoever she's got saying, well, hey, do you hate what they did with Melissa? And she says, yes, I don't want to really be a part of this anymore. All right, well, let's try to find you a way out of it. Well, the scheduling conflict, that was something. We kind of resolved it, but we can use that as an excuse. And remember, that was an earlier report in the morning. Very early in the morning was Jenna wanted out of her contract. So that's another reason why I just believe that is the way it went. She did have a contract. She wanted out of it. They used the scheduling to get her out of it. And I think that's very clever. And like I said yesterday, why should she want to come back? She holds basically the same opinion on the whole conflict as Melissa did. Melissa is a close friend to her. At least it seemed like it, on set and stuff. I don't know how much they talk daily, but they seem close. And you have something like that happen to your friend. It's not the same with Nev. That was yes, that was disrespectful, and yes, that was a disagreement of worth and money, but it's just not the same as like being flat out fight, like, you know, no matter where you stand on it. And that's okay if you don't stand where I stand, but this is firing. You're firing somebody, right? So that's a huge deal. And it's like Nev was the lead, but she's not the lead anymore. Melissa is the lead, and you fire your lead. So why should Jenna want to come back? And also, everything's on her side. She's huge. She could go do Wednesday season 2 and be fine. You know, she doesn't need Scream. So, and again, that's more of like the personal, that's more of the Jenna Ortega side. From like the story and characters, they are in a lot of trouble. And it's also, I do probably want to make a video of just talking about now, I guess, the ending of 6 and maybe like my own idea of what they could do with a fictional 7 to end Sam and Tara. But like, for that to be the last that we've seen of them is actually very, like, it actually makes me sad. If I think about the theater and then them walking away, I now get sad because it's like, wow, I didn't think that'd be the last time we saw them, right? I do get happy, as I've mentioned before, like, I think they may have wanted to kill Tara. Especially even if it was a limited filming thing, and or even if she was all the way in it, I think it's a real possibility that you look at her and say, yep, we got to kill her to advance something in Sam, or, you know what, I was never really for that. I mean, I've made videos talking about it, right? Like, if it's got to happen, it's got to happen, but I would prefer Tara lives. So at least now, from like the diehard lore fandom thing, Tara's alive. They're both alive. Do not kill them off. And, you know, we've said this. You do not kill them off screen, and you do not recast them. Period. No questions asked. You do not do that. That would be absolute. That would be more insane than what you just did. And that was already insane. You do not do that. Okay. So that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think. Well, again, I'll be having plenty of videos over the next couple of days and maybe even a live stream on Friday or something, and we'll talk more about it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next one.